everyone, Lisa here from Forest City Stitching. I hope everyone had a good week. It is hot here, very hot. Last week I was so cold I couldn't get warmed up, but today I can't cool down. Yeah, I had a run this morning to Port Stanley, so that was good. It actually wasn't too terribly hot, but it was warm. And then I got home from there, showered, and then we went to the fair. And that was scorching hot at the fair. Yeah. So I have been drinking lots of fluids. I just ate a very large freezy. We ate slushies at the fair. I did try to have a little bit of a nap about an hour or so ago, but I was just too warm. So hopefully it'll start to cool down here soon. Like, our air conditioning's still on, but it is the middle of the day, so it's set not to be on overly a lot because we're not usually here during the day. But I think I can hear it in the background kicking on, so that's good. Neighbor is cutting their grass, which is good. Our lawnmower has been broken for well over a month. And the other neighbor's trying to sell their house, so I feel terrible that we look like shabby neighbors that don't cut the grass. My husband did borrow the neighbor's lawnmower last weekend, but it wasn't charged enough for him to finish the front yard. Sorry, Arlo just wanted it there. But he did get the worst of the front yard done, so that's good. The backyard is just a jungle. Hopefully this week the lawnmower will be fixed. We'll see. They're waiting on a part. Yeah, I should have maybe started off with this, but I do want to thank Amy from Renewing Stitches, Karen from the Stitching Owl, and Lisa from Lost in Stitches for their shout outs to help me get over 500 subscribers. So last I looked, I was at 523. So thank you, ladies, for your kind words, and welcome anyone that has come from their channels. I hope you enjoy what you see. I did have a comment a couple videos ago about me speaking too softly. I did rewatch that video on a fairly low volume, and on that low volume I could see it possibly being like low and difficult to hear, but turning up the volume, at least in the experience I had, re-listening to it would have corrected that issue. So hopefully everyone can hear me fine. I try to keep my voice down to not encourage my son to come and be an active participant, because I literally just had to kick him out of here before I started this video because he really wanted to be a part of it, but he doesn't need to be yet. But yeah, yeah, so welcome anyone that's new. I have a giveaway in mind for hopefully next video. I am just confirming the details of it. But yeah, if you are interested in what I think is a pretty good giveaway, that's all I'm going to say. Then make sure you are subscribing. Tell your friends maybe if you want. Again, I'm not going to give any hints what it is. But yeah, hopefully that will be happening next week. All right, I didn't even put my planner out here. I did Oh, yesterday I went to the stitching social at Stitches Central, and Jody was there, who is a viewer of mine. Hi, Jody. And Karen, the stitching owl, was there. Karen and I arranged to meet there. It's not very often I can go to those stitch-ins because they are on Saturdays, and my husband works on Saturdays, so. But my son had a birthday party, so went to there. And so it was really great to get some stitching in with those ladies, and then meet some new people as well that are local. But yeah, Jody is very sweet, said very kind things about both myself and Karen. So it was good to catch up with her. All right, let's get into the stitching. It's not a lot. There's 4 projects. So what a lot of, well, the projects I did work on were for like 500 and 400 stitches. So I would say easily I probably stitched 2,000 stitches this week, which I think is a fairly large stitching week. Maybe it's average and it's just drawn over more projects. Because yes, I count my stitches for my events, but I don't like tally them up on a weekly basis or anything like that. I guess I probably could through Notion. Karen and I were talking about Notion briefly yesterday. Sorry, Arlo's just trying to come in and out and all over the place. And I said that I hadn't updated mine, so last night I did go ahead and update what I had stitched on the last couple of weeks. Yeah. Okay, stitching. So not yesterday, last week, I think just like Caroline, how she was showing her project awkwardly in her last video. Okay, last week I was working on Fruits of Plenty after I filmed, and I focused in this medallion here. So that phase is completely done there. So that looks pretty good. And I pulled out Winter Snowfall by Shannon Christine. So that's what it's gonna look like. There's a ton of beads, which I haven't purchased yet. But there's a ton of stitching that I still need to do. So that's how that one's looking. Like I'm tempted to get all the teal done. The teal's very saturated in where it's placed on the pattern. So there's this is like a tree, and then there's like a couple deer and stuff. But I'm using the teal as a treat to do a lot of that white. I did have to spend a lot of time frogging some of that white when I pulled it back out, because it was completely off. So I don't know what I thought I had done last time I had it out. And then I show my floss drops. So these are my floss drops I got from Lee from Stick Strings and Other Things at Jacobpalooza. I needed to do something with my white floss because it was still on the skein. Well, they were all on the skein. But it was getting so low down that it, you know, once it gets to a point, it's no point of keeping it on the skein anymore. And then there's only 3 colors. I looked for some floss straps I had in my little stash from people, and thought those ones kind of matched the project, even though it's not winter themed. Ruskin's penguins came out again. So I am still working on AB Singo, but I've been kind of cherry picking the projects that have been called, which ones to work on, because the prompts I had were for such a large amount of stitches. So I picked my larger projects. So that's Ruskin's penguins, and this was for O, because I don't have an O, even though Karen thinks it's crazy that I don't have an owl. But one cannot be angry when one looks at a penguin. So that's my O. And that's how that's looking. So again, this one too, I did some words, finished up the black outline on that penguin, and then focused on the border. Again, every time I pull it out, it's going to be a lot of border work to try to get that done, and not just the fun stuff in the middle. And last but not least is Anne Morrison, Hands Across the Sea. So I worked on this one yesterday while I was at the stitch-in. Pull that over. So this was a stitch along with traditional stitches a long time ago, talking COVID time. Yeah. So let's fold this in again. What I was focusing on were those eyelets there. It's interesting, the blue eyelets look a lot different than the red ones. Just from afar. Now, calls for doing this 16-legged eyelet, but I'm just doing 8 legs on the Ada. They probably just look a lot different because you can see the legs more clearly on the red as opposed to the blue, right? But yeah, I like how that was good to work on in like in a stitchy event like that. Maybe I will think to bring that with me to Stitch North, because that whole band and the border underneath is all eyelets. Might be an idea. And Jody, I didn't even think about this while we were there, but you were talking about your trip to Scotland, and that's actually a Scottish sampler, so funny how things work out like that. Yeah, so that is everything, I think. Again, thank you, everyone. I don't know if you can hear that, but that's a plane from the air show. We're not super close to the airport, but we're on the east side of town, so we're on the right side of the city. They're very loud from, I work right by the airport, so it's very loud this time of year, the week leading up to the air show, with all the planes coming and practicing and yada, yada, yada. So I'm sure that most of them will go home tomorrow, but yeah, thank you again, everyone, for subscribing and joining me. Appreciate it. And yeah, if you're interested in a giveaway, make sure you check out my video next week, because hopefully that's when I'll be able to announce it. Okay, bye.